Hey, this is Gerald Cigar Street. Now, it's not even 2 o'clock in the afternoon on this gorgeous Sunday. However, I feel like I've really earned this cigar. I mean, I've already got up early, cleaned the house, went to the gym, cleaned the house some more because I got some messy kids, and now I'm going to smoke the Rocky Patel Special Edition. There's not a whole lot of information on this cigar, and my understanding is that it's more of a brick and mortar type cigar. So what I could find online was basically that there's 3 vitolas. There's a Robusto, a Toro, and this cigar here, which happens to be the 60, which is a 6x60. I don't know anything about the price or anything like that. This was actually a gift from my daughter who bought it from a local cigar shop. So can't tell you about the price, but it is my understanding also is a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, and it's got a beautiful wrapper on the cigar. It's dark, chocolatey brown wrapper that's accented by a beautiful band. The band takes up, probably at least half of the cigar, but this is a really elegant looking band that pops, especially with the white, the gold, and the purple colors in it. So definitely a cigar I'm looking forward to smoking. So let's cut this guy up, light it up, and see how good it really is. Hey guys, real quick, if you're new to this channel and you're into cigar reviews and cigar related artwork, consider clicking that subscribe button. Now let's get on with the Rocky Patel Special Edition review. Years ago I used to smoke 60 ring gauge cigars because I always thought the bigger the better, but I have to admit my preference these days is more of a Robusto and Toro size. I prefer the smaller cigars. So this cigar is definitely out of my wheelhouse. I'm not used to these size with vitolas, so I'm not going to cut this stick. I'm actually going to use a punch on it instead. I think I'll enjoy it more that way. Now I do have a lighter that has a punch on it. Unfortunately, I bled this lighter and everything. I just can't get it to hold a flame. So I'll use the punch on this one, and then I'll use the same lighter I use in all my other reviews to actually light this stick. Not a bad draw. I mean, the draw's it's a tad bit snug, but not really that bad at all. Just try it one more time. Yeah, actually a pretty good draw. So let's now get this guy lit up and see what it tastes like. Hard to get this damn thing in my mouth. Like I said, I'm not used to these size vitolas. I mainly smoke Robustos and every now and then a Toro as well. Right off the bat, what I'm picking up is kind of a bitter tobacco, and there's also some woodsy notes I'm picking up as well. But mostly kind of just a bitter tobacco that's followed by some woodsy notes is what I get from the initial puffs. So definitely an interesting start. I'll keep working on it, and I'll come back here with an update shortly as things heat up a little bit. Okay, I'm not even halfway through the first third, but there's a couple of takeaways that I have already for the cigar. I mean, the first one that really stands out is that the smoke output's pretty low. I'm having to draw on the cigar multiple times to get a decent amount of smoke in my mouth. I'm hoping that will change as I progress through it, but as of right now, I'm really having to draw 2 or 3 times just to get what I would consider a decent amount of smoke. The other takeaway is that majority of flavors are actually pretty light, but they're actually really good as well. I mean, I'm tasting light leather notes, and for a few moments there, it did taste like this chocolate cake. It was like this light, fluffy chocolate cake like flavor. Excellent flavor. I really enjoyed that. There's some hints of woodsy notes in there as well. Now, the one flavor that does stand out that's not light is, especially in the retro, there's a very strong cinnamon. So I do pick up a cinnamon spice in that retro. But other than that, very light flavors, but still good flavors. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm hoping if the smoke output can increase, I'll enjoy it even more. So really not a whole lot of flavor changes at this stage. The only thing I really noticed that's any different is outside of those chocolate cake notes that I picked up for a brief second early on, it's more just kind of like a light, fluffy flavor, like a light chocolate. There's also hints of wood. It's light as well. And the only flavor that's still bold for me is cinnamon. I mean, I taste cinnamon in the retrohale. Actually, it's the only thing I taste in the retrohale. There's also a little bit of cinnamon in the draw as well. And unfortunately, the flavors are just too light. I'm enjoying the flavors. It's just, I wish they'd be a little bit bolder. I'm hoping that they will increase as I progress through it. But as of right now, just really light flavors to the stick other than that cinnamon. Now, as far as the construction goes, the burn on the cigar is a mess. I'm going to have to touch it up here in a second. I was hoping it would start correcting itself, and it did for a little bit, but now it seems to have gone for the worse. So I'm going to touch that up. The smoke output is still the same that I was seeing before. Haven't taken multiple draws, so much so that both my cheeks are now starting to get a little bit sore. So I'm hoping that will improve too here as I move towards the second third of the stick. Okay, there were some minor changes here in the second third. Now, at the very beginning of the second third, there was this licorice flavor that got introduced, and for me, licorice is hit or miss. The flavor in this cigar was definitely a hit. It was a great taste, and I mainly tasted it right at the beginning of the second third, and then a couple times throughout that section of the stick. But definitely a great taste and flavor. Those cinnamon notes that I was picking up, they would kind of come and go, so they weren't as pronounced as they were in the first third of the stick. At times it was the cinnamon, at times it was licorice, other times it was just kind of like this spice flavor. Wasn't able to actually put my finger on exactly what that flavor was, but it's mainly those three flavors in this section. Now, as far as the draw of the cigar, the draw's improved. It's instead of taking 3 puffs, it takes 2 now, so it's definitely getting better. And as I got towards the final third, it's definitely improving there as well. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm able to get a lot more smoke in my mouth now. As far as flavors go, it's pretty much the same as it was before. A little more earthy now. There's also a little bit of woodsy notes, but I tasted those early on as well. Still the same problem as before, just very light flavors. They're, in my opinion, just too light. But other than that, I mean, it's still a good tasting cigar. I just wish the flavors, as I said before, were a little more pronounced. Now, the burn on the cigar is a different issue. I did touch up the burn, but as you can see here, it really didn't matter. So I'm going to have to touch it up again, but I did touch it up early on, right before the second third, and it was holding on pretty well for a while there, and then it just kind of went crazy on me. So I'll touch that up here in a second, but other than that, it's a decent cigar. I think if the flavors were bolder, especially in the draw, I would enjoy a lot more, but at this stage, what it does is this cigar makes me curious about the other Vitolas. I'm real curious about, you know, the Robusto or even the Toro, to try those to see how those compare to this one, and I might see if I can track one of those down just to give them a try to see if they have a little more bolder flavors than this guy does. But as of right now, it's a decent stick. I think if the flavors were more pronounced, it'd be actually a pretty great stick, even with the draw issues, but it is what it is. Anyways, I'll keep working on it, and I'll come back here with an update as I get close to the end of this cigar. Okay, I'm going to call it on this one. The final third was pretty much just the taste of earth. It was an earthy tasting cigar. The retrohale was very smooth. Those cinnamon notes that were in the first 2 sections of the cigar, I no longer picked those up. Just mainly just earth. It was definitely a better tasting cigar as far as the flavors were a little more fuller. The smoke output definitely increased in the final third, so I think as I progressed through the cigar, it kept getting better and better. But overall, I'd just say it was a decent stick. It's one that I think, like I said earlier, if I try a smaller Vitola, I probably will enjoy it more. I want to go ahead and see if I can find one and just kind of do a comparison with this one. It was decent, but I'm definitely now curious about the other Vitolas on this particular cigar. So if you've had this cigar before, especially in different Vitolas, let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next review.